Okay, there's my son. Take off your sunglasses. It's like, oh, because I had started this video before, and then he just walked in the door from coming from the grocery store, and I said I'll have to start all over. He goes, no, I want some camera time too. So, okay, seriously, folks. It's August 21st, 2011, and this video is concerning conditioning. Remember, I was mentioning earlier in my tools video that there's a trick to preparing your polymer clay if you're fat like me, and if you're not, there's other ways of doing it. But in order to condition your clay, you have to get it warm, and one of the ways of getting it warm is by sticking it under your floppy breasts. So while I was doing the other two videos, I've been walking around with like wrapped clay under my breast. Okay, zinc yellow. I just like tucked it under there. And if you don't have floppy breasts, I mean, bless your heart, then put it in your back pocket, or keep it in. Oh, and one of the ladies had mentioned in the comments that she thought it was funny when I said put it underneath your sleeping cat. Make sure you keep the wrapper on it, because getting cat hair or any kind of pet hair out of polymer clay is a little difficult, and it really goofs up your canes. Like, you know, here you went through all this trouble making this cane that looks like the Mona Lisa, and then when you go to slice it, it goes like this because it's got hair in it. You know, when you're slicing the cane, it just like the hair goes tearing through the cane. Okay, so just, you know, putting the clay against some sort of body warmth for a minute and a half. Not for a minute and a half, but you know, I exaggerate all the time. But, you know, put it where it's going to be warm against the bite. Don't put it in the microwave. No. What you can do, if you have a hot cold pack, you know, one of those hot cold packs that you put in the freezer if it's need a cold pack, or you put it in the microwave to warm it up. Now you can use a hot cold pack, heat it up in the microwave, and then, you know, put it by your clay. But I would like be careful, because like just, you know, a little bit too much, and then it's gonna cure your clay in the pack. Do not leave your polymer clay in the trunk or the boot of your car if it's warm outside, because it's quite like an oven. There's people who, friends of mine down in Texas, where it gets like really hot, who they went to the, you know, Joann's or Michael's, bought their polymer clay, threw it in the trunk, then went off to have a lunch, you know, drove around, did their errands, came home, and their clay was partially cured already. There's people who have left their clay on the windowsill, and it's gotten partially cured. Now you notice what I'm doing? I'm just rolling just goofing around with the clay. You know, before you buy a book, before you buy a tool, before you do anything, before you make a plan about what to do, warm some clay, unwrap it, and roll it into a snake, and then roll it into a ball, and roll it into a snake again. And some people said, well, how long should I condition polymer clay? And why? Why should I? Well, polymer clay has things called plasticizers in it, and the plasticizers make things, you know, elastic and plastic and stuff, but they have a tendency to migrate with gravity. So clay that's been, you know, in the manufacturing box, in the storage of the store, on the counter, the plasticizers have like, they settle. I noticed this when I've conditioned a whole bunch of clay, rolled it out into sheets, laid it out in wax paper, and stuck it in a drawer, and then I found the plasticizers like migrate through the wax paper, and the bottom sheets have a lot of plasticizers, and the top sheets are like all crumbly and stuff. And I go, ugh. So I had to like turn them all upside down again to try to and ignore it for like a month or two and let the plasticizers leach on down to the other levels. So, moral of that story: when you press a sheet, you use it. Okay, now when someone says, "How long should I condition these things?" Well, let's get out the other packet. A blue. Okay. Boy, was that uncomfortable too. Jeez. Oh, there's this lady. There's a couple of stories. This lady was getting ready to leave work, and she had the clay in her brassiere, brown, I think burnt umber or something, and it was like it's in a log like this, and she had it in her brassiere just to keep it warm, to warm it up on her way home. Well, she stops in the ladies' restroom to do her biologicals. She's sitting in the stall, and she bends over. Yes, we know what happened. She bent over to pull up her knickers, and this brown log fell out of her brassiere and like rolled out of the stall. And there were people in the bathroom, and she's going, "Oh no, that's not what you think. That's polymer clay." And they went, "Oh yeah, she does do that." Red polymer clay. Do be careful. Keep it in the wrapper because red polymer clay will stain your white brassiere. Okay, the reason why I took out the blue is to show you something. Let's take a little bit of the blue, okay? And let's take a little bit of the yellow, all right? Roughly about the same size, roughly, okay? Now, when we mix these two up until they turn green.
Avast virus database has been updated.
Thank you, Avast, for updating my database and goofing up my video. Okay. When we mix these until yellow and blue make green, that's how much you should condition your clay. Alright? That's how much you should condition your clay, even if it's only one color. That'll give you an idea of how much it needs to be moved around. I'm talking about Premo. I always talk about Premo because that's the only clay that I use. I had read that Kato clay responds to abuse. That you gotta like hammer it with the mallet or something. I don't know. I can't tell you because I only use Premo. So if you use Kato clay, respond to this video with your video saying, "Oh, well, what we have to do with Kato clay is this." And if you use Fimo or Kernet and you have other conditioning issues or different tricks, respond to my video with a video of your own. That would be like really cool. Another thing that people do, there we go. Another thing that people do is they slice the clay and they run it through their pasta machine. Well, that's fine if you've warmed it up. If you slice the clay and put it in your pasta machine and it hasn't been warmed up, what you'll get is like these crumble bits that fall down that are really a pain to have to like try to use some warm clay and you try to pick all these crumble bits up, and then you pick up dust and other kind of cat hair and stuff. Just warm the clay up. If you don't have floppy breasts, put it in your armpit while you do some typing. There's folds in your body that can afford a wrapped packet of clay. That's not a problem. Okay. So this is a little short bit, shorter than my usual, and this is about conditioning clay. You gotta do it before you do anything with the polymer clay. Period. Full stop.